The one thing I did not want to do was reinvent the Spider-Man costume. I didn't want to create for the kids a new look that was our look of Spider-Man. Instead, I felt that my job was more of a translation process, working with Jim Atchison. What we wanted to do was bring the Spider-Man that the kids and the adults know to the big screen.
I looked at every comic. I looked extensively at all the illustrators of Spider-Man. I wanted to be very faithful to the fans, if you like.
The Amazing Spider-Man!
My name's the Human Spider.
I don't care, get out there.
No, he got my name wrong.
Get out there, you moron!
We had talked about different things, and the idea was Peter put this costume together out of what he had lying around or what he could easily get his hands on, and just, you know, did a drawing on a sweatshirt and threw on some sweatpants that were the right colors and these shoes, and then wore those like motorcycle gloves and this hood thing that you see his eyes.
In the real world movie of Spider-Man, which we tried to make it was important to have real good justification where this crazy outfit came from. These wrestling acts have the most outrageous outfits, and so he designed his own outrageous outfit, hence the Spider-Man costume.
We tested for 4 months various treatments of the costume.
Alex, take a step toward Chris. Tighter.
That was quite a process. First, I had to do a full body cast, and then I also had to do the head cast.
We needed Spider-Man to be a very lithe and agile character, yet we needed to make him look like he had the muscles that a superhero would have. And the two were in great conflict with one another. So Jim came up with a lot of great technologies working on the costume.
One of the ideas we had was to try and make the web itself just slightly three-dimensional, so that the suit would have the texture of the web, and that proved to be a really difficult thing to achieve.
I was very impressed with what they finally did with it. I think the thing that really stepped it up a notch for me is we were trying on all these different suits, and you know, it has the webbing in it. I tried suits on that the webbing was sort of part of the pattern, and then I tried a suit on where the webbing was three-dimensional. There were separate pieces like on top of the suit. That's what sort of put it over the top because it added dimension to the suit.
Spidey's got to adjust his glasses.
What we've done with the outfit is to overprint about 130 different silkscreen prints.
The silk screening process embeds the color through the fiber so that when you stretch the fabric, it stays saturated with color. There were 147 screens for all the different parts and colors and pieces.
The idea is that the shading that you see on the Spider-Man costume relates to the sort of muscle groups on the body, and that they move with the body. So although the suit is two-dimensional, we get a slight optical sense of three-dimensional.
The company Oakley Sunglasses made, that's where we got our lenses, and the frames and everything else were all taken from hand-sculpted bits that our sculptor Ray Scott had created over a year's time. These eyepieces are originally sculpted by hand, and then they poured a mold, and the frames are made from hard composite plastic.
It was a real challenge to make the Spider-Man costume, to make it look alive and beautiful on film. We put the picture out on the internet and got this just tremendous response, amazing response. So that was very gratifying.
In my eyes, there's a lot more room to go wrong with the Green Goblin's costume.
You're an amazing creature, Spider-Man. You and I are not so different.
I'm not like you. You're a murderer.
Well, to each his own.
Again, we went back to the comic, and there's this rather strange concept of a man in a rubber mask and a rubber suit and a purple vest and purple boots flying along on a little kind of glider.
I mean, when you hear Goblin, you see Halloween, you see latex, you see
you see the books, and the books were sort of, the Goblin was pretty cheesy throughout history.
Before I arrived, the art department had done some quite extensive artwork about making the glider and the Green Goblin a much more high-tech idea.
I think in some ways the Green Goblin was more challenging to somehow have it reference and relate to Norman Osborn and what he's doing. So because he's a scientist and he's developed the glider, and maybe the suit had to be a little more high-tech so that it had some relationship to the glider.
We felt that the Goblin's outfit could have been designed as a weapon of war, a battle suit. So we could justify the green, we could justify the armor plating, and like ancient weapons of war, we felt that it may have a mask, something frightening to strike terror into the hearts of the enemy.
I thought that the thing we had to retain about the Green Goblin was that kind of screaming face. And it seemed to me important that whatever we did with the rest of the outfit, we had to somehow retain this maniacal scream.
It's like a project for NASA. There was so much research and development on the suit, it was crazy. I must have done 40, 50 hours of fittings in the suit, them just trying different things. So they had to play around with certain ideas of materials and how the suit would work.
Jim tested many different fabrics. We tried leather, we tried all sorts of different fabrics, and they would look great here, and they look on camera, they just look dead. And this was the only one that seemed to have a sort of reptilian look that he wanted.
We have an actor who's probably the most athletic and physically agile person that I've ever worked with in Willem Dafoe. And therefore we adapted and changed the costume to make sure that he is able to be as mobile as possible.
The suit was a pain in the ass. It was really uncomfortable to wear. It was so tight and so heavy that after a whole day in that thing, you felt like you had just gone 12 rounds. In the end, I think the suit works quite well, but it's a long, long process. It's not like he just draws this thing up and then says, go make it.
In the end, the journey we went was that we went out doing our own thing and being, innovative, but we kept coming back to the actual drawings of Spider-Man. Is that in order to maintain the integrity of Spider-Man, we had to be faithful to it.
Sets were really fun to work on and really fun to see them build and exciting to see them go up.
Each set is such a character in this film, and New York is an important part of this movie. The way the buildings are lit, it'll have like a romantic feel to it, I think, also.
I think what the most fun making this movie was we got to go see New York in a way we'd never seen it. You don't usually get to see it. Usually you're walking around New York and you're looking up. We went on the tops of all these amazing buildings. Needless to say, we can't actually shoot on the rooftops of Manhattan, so it's been a real challenge from a production design standpoint.
Neil Spisak truly loves New York, understands New York, and was able to bring his passion of New York to the film.
A production designer is the person who works with the director and the director of photography and the producers and the visual effects team to conceptualize and make all of the ideas that everybody has in theory become actually materialized. Sam is a Spidey fan from way, way back, and His interest was extremely infectious, and it was sort of a bizarre road getting introduced to Spider-Man, actually. I mean, I knew Spider-Man from the TV series and from cartoons, but I had never really read comic books. And it was an interesting journey learning about who Spider-Man is and how he's portrayed in the comic books.
I didn't feel it was proper to have a super stylized world, like a comic book world like you see in a lot of comic book films. I felt that the most important thing to do was to create a real world. There are parts of New York that are magical. So what we decided to do was just to create a whole city of those realistic, magical parts of New York.
Once you conceptualize what the film is about and how the film needs to look and what locations scenes actually take place in, then the execution process is a puzzle that you kind of work out piece by piece. How do you retain the control that a filmmaker needs to tell a story? Well, obviously the best place is on a soundstage, but the reality is that you can't just go into New York City and shoot anywhere you want to. So a lot of times you bring it back and you make it work because it's the only way you can retain control and get the shots you want to tell the story.
I'm trying to spice up the area where Spider-Man plays a bit of his dialogue. Not that it's bad.
Well, that isn't finished.
I was just asking him for a little running water down here.
Each situation that Spider-Man is in is a different design. It has to accommodate that specific movement. That is what the movie's about, is Spider-Man being able to move through New York and the way he moves through New York and where he puts himself.
We see Spider-Man up against like buildings and like an architectural element that you'd see from the street would be really small, but when Spider-Man is up against it, all of a sudden it's like a huge detail. So you get to see kind of architecture in a way that you would normally see from the street.
We just need to come up with a look, and the construction is the one who figured it out how to hold it together. I'm working on the Osborn mansion, the Green Goblin house. This is gonna be the fireplace on his living room. All the wood paneling get totally detailed, the columns, like one by one, everything to the last molding.
One of the design elements that I tried to incorporate into the film as a whole is a slightly overscaled and somewhat classical architecture. Building tops and places that you normally aren't on buildings, closer to the upper architecture of the buildings of New York. So the idea that this balcony is further up in the building rather than being down in the street, and the idea that you have an overview made it all the easier to incorporate the Goblin on its glider above the city, and the fact that Spidey could swing in from the upper parts of the city as opposed to being in on the street.
Really, it's like if you look at the comics, you flip through the pages and you look where Peter grew up, it's in this movie. If you look where Peter went to school, it's in the movie. Where would a kid like Peter share an apartment today? It's the apartment. He did a great job to be able to put together a very fancy side of Manhattan, because that's the Osborn side of the world, with this modest upbringing where Peter comes from. And he connected it beautifully.
What is Spider-Man's world? And certainly he exists at the rooftops of New York. We scouted tons and tons of rooftops of New York, so we got to see a whole side of New York that most people never get to see. And we're bringing that to the film, and I think it's very exciting.
It's the real world. It's a recognizable world, obviously somehow adapted a little bit to embrace these characters. It's contemporary, it's not futuristic, it's not, hopefully it'll have a kind of timeless quality.
Although it's an action film and an adventure film and a fantasy film, all of those parts of this movie work because the basis for the whole story is very human. And I think it makes it all the more interesting and all the better that you believe, you know, Spider-Man can be a part of our world.
In this version of Spider-Man, it takes place in a genetics lab where they actually take different species of spiders and they remove their DNA and combine and make a new super spider that has a lot of these traits. that spider gets loose in the genetics lab, and fortunately, Peter Parker gets bitten by it. I worked closely with the prop department and with Sam and the art department. So there were a lot of decisions. There were many, many decisions. What kind of spider to use, what is the background, what kind of web to associate with, if there's a web. There were an incredible number of questions. And so when you see the final product, it looks like somebody just brought a spider out and that was it. But if you knew behind the scenes how much was involved, how many days were involved with all of that, it's quite an incredible feat just to do it.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Oh, yeah, this is the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Where do you go? Show me how high that thing is when you raise it.
Bonesaw McGraw, the toughest guy that ever lived, and everybody's got confidence in me because they put up money, and I back it up because we don't have to pay anybody $3,000 because I beat up everybody, you know the deal? Until they get this unknown guy. There's always one person that ruins the party, and we got this guy called Spider-Man.
What we wanted to do was build a set where the crowd was right on top of the contestants. We really wanted Tobey to feel like he was in this fishbowl, have a lot of intensity of the power of the crowd working on the combatants in the ring.
This shot we're doing the same action, but in fact, Tobey Maguire, who is playing Spider-Man, will be doing the stunt.
I had a blast, you know, because we had the big wrestling cage on the sound stage with the stands and tons of people, and you know, I was pretty amped. I'd been prepping for 5 months to do the movie, so I was ready to go. I was excited.
Okay, and that's our cut point. Do not remove his leg. Okay.
Bring him out here a little bit so you got some time to get him in there.
The big concern I had was, what is Peter Parker feeling and thinking about these powers right now? How afraid is he of this wrestler? Exactly what does he know about his own capabilities at this time? Does he know that he can beat this guy? Can he beat the guy? Is he experienced enough? I was very careful to track with Tobey his own self-awareness of the powers of Spider-Man at that time. And I think through the course of the scene, he learns that he's a much more powerful force than he ever dreamed he was. I think that helps kick off the fact that he becomes flush with himself. And it pushes him into committing the sin of pride. That sin is something he'll pay for the rest of his life.
Welcome to Oscorp Industries Unity Day Festival.
Okay, here we go.
Try rehearsal with the flame bar so that it's good and safe in the control. Gran, help me, she says.
The Times Square sequence was a big action sequence in Spider-Man. Everybody contributed to it, from John Dykstra to our camera team, to the actors, to all the storyboard artists involved. So it really was a very complicated, multi-dimensional sequence with elements coming from every direction.
This is the real thing. I'm about to call the cue. We're gonna do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, action!
Oh my God! Eric! Eric! Help me! Eric! Please! Oh my God!
Kirsten Dunst was out on that balcony, and she really is like 2 stories up. So there's an element of danger to it, and that's what was the most concern for me. But she was such a trooper. She never complained and just went for it all the time.
Now, okay, cool. I'm not sure when the lights break off.
It's great. I'm not doing it.
Then right where you're gonna ride.
We'll meet again, Spider-Man!
40,000 years of evolution, and we barely even tapped the vastness of human potential.
A few hours later, you'll do that part. Then I switch back, you can be simple, innocent you.
Yes, sir.
Switch away, and then you can be the character you really have, but it looks like one piece. It's kind of an old-fashioned, like, Universal horror movie scene, where the scientist decides to experiment on himself to save his corporation. They're about to pull all the funding, so he sends himself in as a guinea pig to prove that he was right.
2 weeks, this project, this entire company will be dead.
Sometimes you gotta do things yourself. Get me the promochloroparazine.
For what?
It begins catalyzation when the vapor hits the bloodstream.
The moment you come here and you hit this, that bed goes in, right?
Correct.
Now you know that they can't close those doors until the bed is in. You're gonna have to time it right before the bed gets to the end. Tell it to close the door.
Okay.
Don't tell it to close the door at a time when they can't close the door. You're waiting, the smoke clears, and when it clears, we're gonna see him shaking. He inoculates himself with this gas, this super soldier gas, and it has bad side effects, as they had feared it would.
Cut.
What's a cut?
Run it. Check it.
I mean, we can fire the glass breakers as soon as he touches the window on the inside. He's going to continue through, hit this table, in which we've got some sparks in the back and a little bit of smoke in this console area here. Go!
The thing that I remember most is it's the first time I ever was on one of those wires where you go up flying through the air. So that was interesting, because I didn't really get any practice on it.
Wow. Good. It's kind of cool. That's great.
Sam wanted a huge leap through the air and then to come right in front of the camera in one shot, and then come into a huge close-up, have a moment, and then get ratcheted out. That was all pretty hairy because I kind of had to rehearse on film. I didn't get a chance to do it before.
Hello, my dear.
In the contemporary version of Spider-Man, which this is, you know, you want to see the stuff that Norman is working on, that the Goblin then adapts. It has to be cool. So he has the glider, which is this, you know, personal transport system.
Jim Carson designed the Goblin glider
along with Neil. It took about 4 months to build the glider between the conception and our final testing on the stage.
The original concept that Sam Raimi wanted to keep was that it was much like a snowboard, a flying snowboard, that kind of thing, kind of hip, kind of cool. We're trying to just go blue sky and come out with a lot of different concepts. Sam kind of channeled us in more towards the original glider that's in the comic book as far as the feel, and what that is essentially is a rocket tube with a couple of these kind of bat wings that look like they're made out of 2x4s. So what we attempted to do is still stay true to that, so it was still the Goblin glider that you see in the comics, just updated and a little cooler. And what I originally did is I did just old-fashioned pencil sketch of it for the original design and painted it in the computer.
It was quite a complicated rig to design this thing that would fold and open up and fly without anybody getting hurt on it.
The bindings we're using are basically a modified snowboard binding. These are like a step-in clicker style system, and then they've got a little ball rotator on the bottom of it so it can pivot around and kind of do the whole 9 yards. And then these are the really sharp and menacing spears. And then we've got pumpkin bombs that shoot out the top. These guys will pop out of here and he catches them and then throws them for destruction.
Out, am I?
We've got machine guns that come out of these two doors right here. Then we've got a rocket in the center. This thing is actuated and actually will, on one of the shots, pops out.
Okay there. I knew that flying the Goblin glider would be challenging. It's moronically simple in a funny way. The trick is not to get hurt, not to fall off the thing, and to try to look graceful. So it's all about balance.
Up. Excellent. Excellent.
Your feet are locked in. It's a little dangerous because if anything goes wrong, you can't really bail out of it. There's no quick release out of it. So that was a little scary. It's like any sport, you're using slightly different muscles. But I'm a pretty fit cat, so I was able to roll with it.
You have an unlimited amount of freedom, really. Just so it looks like it works, that's the most important thing. But the public, I think, is pretty astute with what might work. We base the design in some fundamental principles and so forth, so who knows, maybe it could fly.
The glider and Goblin's, bag of effects kept changing through the course of the production.
A lot of shots we had to match our CG version of the glider against the mechanical version. We had to work very closely with them because every time they made a change for the movie, added a new weapon, new prop, added machine guns on or something different, we had to match that in CG. In many shots, we had a CG glider cut back to back with a mechanical version, so we had to make sure that they matched in color and every detail.
However, there's a little bit of variances that we've got between our CG model versus what they built on stage. And a lot of it is, sometimes design changes over the course of the movie, or physically there's some limitations to what they can physically build on the glider. This shot here illustrates one of those cases. Spider-Man's got his spidey sense going, and he realizes there's some impending danger, and it's coming from the glider. The glider's got these prongs that fork out and are intended to impale him. That was sort of a design change that happened from the movie. The blades themselves kept evolving over the course of the movie, and so rather than the physical production guys constantly keep building and rebuilding this, it was a lot easier for us to do it digitally. The Green Goblin, he's got this pumpkin bombs that he grabs, and they articulate into a whole bunch of different types of weapons. This pumpkin bomb is just an explosion pumpkin bomb. It truly is a bomb. In this case, it's going to blow up the balcony building that MJ and some of our other characters in the movie are standing on. Here is an example of one of the Razorbat shots. Again, it's the same pumpkin bomb that you're seeing here that sort of explodes out and articulates into these spinning blades of death. It's got the same design parameters. It's got, the LEDs up on the top. It's got the same sort of top shape of it, but as its shell expands, it'll manifest itself into other types of objects. In almost all cases, whenever there is a physical object that's definitely going to be built, that'll almost always dictate what we wind up doing. The production design had built a physical pumpkin bomb. We brought it in-house, we took a look at it. What they had built physically on stage, though, was just the exterior shell. Anything that truly articulated, like, to the Razorbats, that was all done digitally. And that design of that articulation was done all here at ImageWorks. We had our art department and some of our TDs. They would try to sort of conceptualize how it should react, what its properties should be. It was one of those cases also for the Razorbats where we sort of cheated because there's actually no way to physically compress all that, if it were truly a real object, into that small space.